All right, folks, thanks for joining us today. We're going to have a roundtable discussion here. I'm with Ralph Bostic, our general manager, and Ken Deers, account executive, with us, and I'm Jeremy Shepard, account executive as well. We're going to talk today in this video around kind of a roundtable discussion about, what do we look for when we're switching a customer from a digital system to a hosted PBX system. So let's kind of get it kicked off here. The first thing we're going to talk about is internet connection. So when we're on site, what do we look for in an internet connection? So one of the first things a lot of times that we see out there today is a cable connection.
Yeah.
So your Comcast, your Charter, things of that nature. It's a best effort connection. There's no service level agreements on it. So it's just the uptime is not guaranteed at all, and we can see some up and down on that line as well. So, but there is a lot of it out there because it's cheap, it's high speed, and what's that?
It's bang for your buck.
You get a lot
of bandwidth for not a whole lot of cost.
That's right, absolutely. So when we look at those, and we see a cable connection as good for say up to 15 people, something in that direction. So. We really have to look at that and how many people that you have that are going to be on a VoIP system, how many phones, how many users, what kind of data users that you are. If you're real heavy data users,
video editing.
And video
or streaming music or anything like that, those really will eat up bandwidth very quickly.
Absolutely.
Another thing we're going to talk about when we talk about cable connections is even though they look huge, they look enormous. We've seen them progress from 10 by 2 to 100 by 7 to 200 by 10 now, and those all sound fantastic, and they're really cool. But again, as you said, it depends on what you're using the data for. I can go out on Highway 270, and if it's open, I can go 100 miles an hour.
That's right.
It's fantastic. I can use the whole thing. But if you do that at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, you're down to 12 miles an hour. No matter how much you have, you're only going to go 12 miles an hour, and there might be times you go slower than that.
That's right.
You got to really understand what you're using it for.
That's right. And you're really using the uptime or the upload, I should say, on that as well as the download. Mm-hmm. So you might I've got a 200 meg pipe. Well, that's great and all, but your upload's actually only 7. So depending on your usage of your data, we really need to take a look at that. Another type is DSL. AT&T UVerse is prevalent kind of in our area. We see that a lot. Again, it's a best effort connection. No SLA agreements on it, no uptime guarantees. You're sharing connections.
I think it's a little bit, depending on use, it's a little bit more stable than Charter. Because AT&T has been around for a very long time, and it's not as shared as you don't have 50 people in one system. You might have 10 people going back to a node, so it can be better. But again, we really should run some tests on the circuit before we jump in there. And the last one, which one I love really, is the fiber type of connections. If money was never an option, fiber would be the best. I mean, we go from the 1.5 meg T1 that we had years ago, and now we're looking at even up to gigabit as far as a fiber connection, depending on what you want to pay. But like you said that here in St. Louis, you've seen some 50 meg fiber up and down for $500 or $600, and that's pretty cheap.
Yeah. Yeah, the price of fiber is coming way down. We've seen over the last year or so.
And I think that's a big driving part in the VoIP as well, because I've got this cable here, and this is 100 pair regular telephone cable, and so this is about equivalent. If you ran data over here, it's about 75 meg. Mm-hmm. So this is pretty big. Or you've got this little bitty pair of fiber, just a pair of fiber, and this can do 10 gig. So roughly, 50, 60 times what this will do in that little pair of wire. Mm. So that's, I know why people are going that direction. Well, there it is. They don't have to dig a lot of holes for this.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all about the size of your company as well. Fiber has SLA agreements. They're going to guarantee uptime. It's usually synchronous. So if you're got a 50 meg fiber, it's 50 meg up, 50 meg down. So you're seeing that kind of options, but and we see that for big businesses, it's going to be good for a lot larger business. Obviously, somebody that's probably got 5 phones isn't going to have a fiber
It's not very cost
connection.
effective.
It's not cost effective, right? So, depending on their data use, we do see that in some places, but it's few and far between on that. So, but for as far as hosted goes, I mean, if we're going to recommend something to you, we're going to recommend fiber to put in, to your business.
Now, and if business continuity is a huge thing for you, which it is for most of us, and it is possible, you might want to take a look at 2 different technologies, whether it's a fiber circuit from AT&T or XO or Windstream, whatever it might be, or Charter, and then a Charter connection as a coax, or maybe an AT&T DSL as a secondary. So therefore, your firewall can load balance or pick up the slack should your primary go down.
Yeah.
Never hurts.
Yeah, backhoe can cut any of it.
That's
so,
a perfect scenario. Look what happened.
Right, we see ups and downs, but yeah, a backhoe takes them all out.